Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Michael, aka Rickshaw, and welcome to Worship and Tribute Nerd. Today we're doing a retro Brainscan review. Right, guys?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
Today we're here with
Mikey,
Rabbit.
aka
Richard.
a.k.a. Rabbit.
Switched it up. I switched it up on you. I switched it up. Sorry.
Switching it
My
up.
bad.
Rabbit, a.k.a. Rabbit.
Today we're doing a retro review of a movie called Brainscan. It came out in 1994. It stars Edward Furlong, and it is a movie.
Little Eddie.
It's a movie about a kid that has a very dark past, who grew up as a latchkey kid. So he's pretty emo, and he loves horror movies, and he loves horror
Metal
video
music.
games and metal music. So this is right up our alley. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah. So anyways, one of the reasons I really love this movie is because whenever I was in 7th grade, the first day of spring break, I got pneumonia and I ended up in the hospital. And so randomly my parents would bring me movies to watch, to occupy my time. And this is when they brought me. So I was like, why the fuck did my parents bring me this shit while I was at the hospital all by myself, scared? So I'm like, yep, nurse, watching movies about murder. It's all good. So anyways, what do you
Yeah,
guys
why
have to
is
say?
it that like you can watch a movie with a bunch of friends and it's like a comedy,
Right.
but it's supposed to be a scary movie, but
Right.
then when you're watching by yourself, it's actually scary.
Right.
Like, what is that?
Yeah. Well, I think the true test if a movie is like actually scary is watching it by yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like if you're by yourself and you watch something and you're like, then the movie's
Or you
working,
have to like
you know?
get up and go to the bathroom halfway through the movie, and you're
Right.
like
Yeah,
Peeking
you're
around
like,
corners.
sneaking around. Like,
The premise of the movie is Edward Furlong's character, Michael, is a nerd, a horror movie nerd, and a video game nerd. And his friend calls him up and explains that there's this new game coming out called Brainscan. So Michael, in turn, then decides to give this game a try. And
in the game, they use like flashes of light through the television to manipulate your brain to be like a dream
yeah.
game.
Well,
or
it's supposed to be
something.
like VR before VR.
Right,
like,
yeah.
right, yeah.
It was like
And in the game,
You're like in a hallucinatory,
It's inside your mind.
state
you are supposed to commit a murder. So
in an allotted amount of time.
yeah. So anyways, in this scenario, like he plays the game and then he murders someone, and it's pretty intense. And then whenever he wakes up and then starts going about his normal life the next day, he sees on the news that someone has been murdered, and it looks like the same scenario that he played out in his game. So eventually he finds out that there is a guy called Trickster that is tied to the Brainscan like company or something, and he like
Yeah.
appears before him, and he's like a metal dude. He's like,
yeah, he just like shows up in his room. Like,
right.
He's
Yeah.
all decked out in like leather.
Oh no,
and
the first
chains
scene.
and shit.
No, the first scene. His like face comes out of the
Oh,
TV.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
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 That's the first scene. He like comes. His face comes out.
Yeah, and then it
He
like
pops
and then
out
his
of
like
the TV.
his head's floating there, and it like shoots his body out the bottom, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
What's happened?
You were there, Michael. You know exactly what you did.
I thought it was a great villain. Just even though he doesn't do any of the murdering, he's like the one manipulating you into doing it and into getting more like deeper into the game and like doing fucked up shit.
And that's such a 90s like
Yeah.
villain name, the Trickster.
Yeah,
Like-
Trickster. You're like, what? You're like, yo, tell me about this movie. Well, this metal guy manipulates a young boy into committing murders. Yeah.
Well, the craziest thing to me is like they don't explain who he is at all.
Right.
Like you
Nope.
don't know what he is, you don't know where he came from,
Right.
you don't know why he's there.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this character.
Yeah.
He just shows up.
People in 2019 would be so dissatisfied.
There's no backstory.
Where's the backstory?
There's no character arc.
I hope there's a prequel.
Does he ever even call him? He calls himself Trickster.
He calls himself
right?
the Trickster.
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if he
But
actually
there's
called
nothing
himself
else.
by the
Nothing
name.
else.
Right.
It's like the movie starts, he shows up, shit goes down, the movie ends.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny that like some of the elements that they use in this movie, like at the time, were just like real. I was like, "Whoa, this is the future of technology," because he has like a phone.
Oh yeah, the technology in
Yeah.
his room. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote that down as like a note that like the tech in his house is goddamn ridiculous.
Right.
Like we don't have that shit now.
Well, it's like he has
It's like 25 years later.
he has like a phone that's like voice command
Yeah.
operated, and then like his computer program
Igor.
is called Igor. So
Yeah.
he's like answer phone, Igor. And
I mean, it's like Siri
you're
or
a
Alexa.
master,
Master.
right?
You have a call, Master.
Yes,
we have that now. It's like Siri.
Right, I
basically.
mean,
Yeah, but
We
it's
do-
not that.
we
It's
have
not
that
even
now.
remotely
Right.
that cool.
Yeah, it's like but for the time,
yeah.
in the early
was
90s,
ahead of its time.
right? I mean, they're just now getting to where the AI can understand you. Like it'd be like, hey Alexa, find the nearest sandwich place. Looking up farts. And it's like, what? No, not farts. Sandwich. And it's like, witches. Researching witches.
It's a lot of like okay, like I have an Xbox at home, so it's like Xbox pause, or back when that still worked.
Right.
I think now they've done away with the voice command stuff on it, but it would be like Xbox pause, Xbox pause, Xbox pause, and they would finally pause.
Yeah. I never really was into that. Like,
Powered by.
don't you have like a pause button
like-
on the controller that you're holding in your hand?
Yeah,
You
but
just
you know,
press pause.
I'm lazy.
Introducing.
No, it takes more effort to say
Yeah.
that over and over and over.
Yeah,
than
you're right. It
click.
did. It did.
They're like,
Pause.
Xbox would like to introduce the new voice command powered by a dog's brain.
But okay, talking.
Pause.
So
Just fucking. God. Are you going to fucking pause?
All right, so back to the movie. Real
back
quick.
to his technology in his room, though.
Yes.
The one thing that was like weird that was him like just videotaping his next door neighbor. Girl,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
taking her
Serious
shirt
people, Tom.
off. Like,
But she liked it. That's
She did, but-
Right. But it's super weird.
but come on, that was fucking
2019 would be very upset about
very
that.
upset.
2019 just upset. You
But
know?
it would-
I,
No
thought,
wonder-
I thought 18 we were going to leave that shit behind.
No
There
wonder
there was some
Edward
equality in
Furlong
it 'cause
hasn't
she was
been in the
peeping
movie.
Tom him
like-
too, though.
What now?
She was peeping Tom and him as well. So
Right.
She
there
was
some equality
it was a
in there.
secret.
Equality. That's
But-
the point of the movie, actually.
You're-
Yeah.
You're videotaping somebody naked without their consent. That's pretty fucking.
Yeah, right. But in the 90s, you know, it was different.
What we still had the term "peeping Tom" in the '90s, and that's exactly
Right,
what that
right.
Well, it's definitely a movie of its time
Yes, it is.
for sure. The music is
Oh, dude, the
music-
soundtrack is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. The music's fucking dope.
so good.
Yeah. I just
They play like fucking
Pri-
White Zombie,
Primus.
Primus.
Yep.
What else is in there? Like so many good bands.
There's some, I don't know, there's some pretty awesome shit. Like especially during the murder scene, it's just like
It was dope.
Yeah.
The music was dope.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
the scene where he dances around, he's like, "I thought, why don't you have anything good?" And then he pulls out his own, and
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
fucking Primus,
Primus,
and
yeah.
he's like dancing around to it.
Never leave home without it. From the top of the charts to the space in your heart.
Stop that! Stop it! pop shops, some fun and night. Just stick around and take a bite of life. We don't need people. This is this proximity. Knock it off!
So good. So good.
I thought the Trickster was a pretty awesome villain of the movie, though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm torn.
right?
I'm
You're torn.
There's a few, yeah, but
Why? Because he's such
Okay.
a weirdo.
okay. So, they were trying to make him like the new like Freddy, Jason,
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
Like that's what they wanted him to be. Like I think it says that on the back of the DVD case or whatever. And then like he doesn't even do any of the killing.
Right.
He has nothing to do. Like all he does is
Well, I
like,
mean, that's
he
the-
gets this little kid to like
Yeah, and the other thing, he's not particularly scary either.
Right.
yeah.
Like,
He's
He looks like a bass player for Alice in Chains or some shit.
yeah,
you
like,
know what I mean?
he looks like the guy that works at the record store who's like, you should check out, right?
Primus.
Primus.
Check out this. Y'all heard the new Alice Cooper record?
You
Oh,
little
man.
kids.
Oh, he's so
right.
ridiculous looking,
Yeah.
but also like really freaky looking at the same time.
Yeah, he is pretty freaky looking.
But like he's not scary. He's got all the funniness of Freddy, but none of the.
I think he did this. He did the same finger break thing like Freddy did, right? It's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah, he does the-
Because there's this scene where
they
he's
can-
like, they can. What is? I forget what the things
could-
he says.
They could
And
break
he's
my
like,
fingers.
break
they
his
could
fingers, gouge his
gouge my eyes out.
I thought there was one other
pump
thing
me
in
full
there.
of 1,000 volts. And
Yeah.
it's-
Oh yeah. That's he shocks himself is
yeah.
the first thing.
Right.
I kind of liked the CGI when he would like appear. For that time, like it was pretty good.
Right. Even though it was like 90s as fuck.
It was pretty good compared to like other 90s
Right,
like,
right,
CGI
right.
though.
No, I thought some of. I mean, I like with the part you were just saying. I like when he gouges his eyes out, and it's like it straight looks like pus and
Oh
blood
yeah, it's just
coming
oozing
out.
out of his
yeah.
face, and then he opens his eyes.
Right. But yeah.
So he could. That's the thing. Like he could have been really fucking cool, but he also had to be scary.
Right.
And he wasn't that scary.
Yeah,
he was
it
kind
wasn't
of just
really
like.
that scary.
I think I said it when we were watching it. It's like Little Monsters, but like a really fucked up version.
Right.
If you're taking like meth, it's like the Little Monsters on meth. I don't know.
I wanted to cover
Something like
some
that.
of the some like little facts
Right.
with the movie. Like the director, when I looked it up, there was nothing I could find of note other than Steven Seagal's Out for Justice.
Okay, so the director did Steven Seagal's Out for Justice.
Yeah, he was the director of that. And then
Right.
the writers, there was two writers, Brian Owens, which they don't ever talk about, and then this other guy, Andrew Kevin Walker, I guess is the more famous of the two, and he has written a bunch of shit that's like real dope.
Like what?
Like Seven,
Oh,
The Game,
right.
8mm, Sleepy Hollow, Event Horizon,
Wow.
Fight Club, and Panic Room.
Is he a screenplay writer or is he like?
I think he's a screenplay writer,
Screenplay
yeah.
writer?
And it's funny, he said in an interview that he gets more people to come up to him about
Brainscan.
Brainscan, thank you. But like, I think the quote is actually somebody came up to him one time and was like, "Oh, you're the writer of," and he's like, "Yeah, 7." And they're like, "No, Brainscan."
No,
Brainscan.
And he's
Jackass.
like, "What?" And I think Brainscan was actually like the first movie he had wrote a screenplay for. so.
Nice. That's a
Tight.
dope ass movie. I was very after being a 7th grader left alone in a hospital watching Brainscan all to myself, I was very partial to it, even though it was it's not a scary movie, but when you're in 7th grade left in a hospital all by yourself, it's like creepy at
It
least.
can be scary.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why you picked that, Mom and Dad, but thank you. I swear it was like, yeah, rent me a movie, something like, like a Disney movie or something. And they're like, we found this Brainscan movie. They're like, well, thanks, but damn, what's up with that?
Oh, we found this movie. It's called The Exorcist. I don't know. You might enjoy
Yeah.
it.
We're going to go to spoiler territory. What's your favorite parts of the movie? What made you like it?
I think the best part for me, strictly as a horror film, was the first murder.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Like that first murder was like I thought it like set the tone for the rest of the movie, but It didn't. Spoiler.
It
But that
didn't.
first murder was pretty badass.
It was like pretty fucking
Yeah.
brutal because
Yeah.
he fucking stabs the dude like in the chest, right?
No, in the
or does he
back.
stab him in the back?
He stabs him in the
and then he, like
back.
freaks out and
Yeah.
is like flying around the room,
Right.
trashing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
bloody handprints on the wall.
Yeah.
Metal
then-
music, I think, playing in the
Yeah.
background.
It was like. But and I love too that like after the murder happens, and the next day when he wakes up and then talks to Trickster, Trickster's like, Michael, when he got up and started dancing around the room, it was beautiful. I was like, oh my god.
All right, so back. I wanted to talk about some of the stuff in the movie. Like, it starts off pretty grim because it starts off with him as a kid with an accident,
Oh, yeah.
and like it's like
And his mom dies.
his fucking knees all fucking tore up, which they like. I think it was only to really explain. Like, I feel like that part part of the movie was just kind of added in probably later to like explain him having the limp and have to go back and cover up his tracks because they'd be able to figure out it was him because of his limp.
Well, I mean, you needed also like as the story is being told, you start to realize that like his mom died, his dad's always gone
Yeah.
now. Like that's why he's so fucked up. That's why he likes metal. That's why he likes
like-
horror.
Yeah,
Like
he's like the quintessential like loner
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Like
yeah. So we don't want to. I mean, the sequel could be about a jock that's popular, but
Sequel.
I honestly think this would be a perfect example of a movie that could be remade.
Right. It could definitely would be perfect for a reboot, especially with the technology and
Exactly.
stuff like that. So I'm down.
Like stop remaking movies that were awesome in their time
Right.
and making them shit.
Let's
Take
not-
movies that were like had a really cool concept,
Right.
but didn't have like the technology to
Right,
really
right.
do it right, and reboot that now.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking
what
of
the
that,
people should be
this
doing.
is a little bit of a side tangent, but I guess it still kind of ties in because he wrote the screenplay for the movie. But Event Horizon, did you see that they're doing
Oh,
an
yeah.
Amazon series?
TV show.
Yeah.
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 TV show.
Stoked about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Brainscan.
Event Horizon. We need that.
We do. We need
to
cover
do
that
a
for
video
sure.
on that one. Yeah.
Right now, we're talking about Brainscan.
Oh yeah. Brainscan.
I like with the first murder how he's got to take a souvenir. So he takes the dude's foot,
Cuts the dude's foot off.
and
What
then
one thing that always confused me about him taking the foot though is like it was like he stabbed him in the back, and then he's like dancing around the room like oh. And then he thinks he's finally passed out and done, so he starts sawing off his foot. And the dude wakes up again.
oh yeah.
And
That's
the
right.
dude
He
wakes
does
up
wake
again.
up in the middle of him
Oh!
cutting his foot off,
And then he like kind of elbows him in the face,
And that's it. And he was
And then
like,
kicks-
and then
cut his foot off.
and then cuts his foot off, and it's like
with
that
a
elbow to the face. That's what did it.
with a butcher knife, he saws through tissue and bone.
and bone,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
But I mean,
90s,
it's suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
it's
right,
whatever.
right.
And he's also supposed to be in a video game world, so I mean, I don't know. It's all fucking confusing.
It is ludicrous, but that's what makes the movie awesome.
Yeah,
Right,
for
right.
sure.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, the movie would have drug out a little bit if we would have sat there for him sawing off that foot in real life.
In real time with a butcher knife.
Oh, it's gonna
He'd have
happen.
been there, like, he'd have been well. He would have popped back up in his chair, and it'd have been like negative, like, time.
Right. He'd be like, oh no. He also would have had to elbow that dude in the face a couple more times.
Oh,
too.
for
He would have
sure,
been like, yeah. Oh, he's awake again.
Yeah. As if sawing through your bone wouldn't wake you up.
Right. Yeah.
To be fair, there was a couple of scenes in the movie where I was like that, where I was just like, come on, dude. Like when he's burying the foot later in the
Right.
woods.
Yeah.
And he's like hiding in that bush, and he's like, there's no fucking way that guy didn't see him.
Right.
That
Oh,
bush
yeah,
wasn't
yeah, yeah.
that
He
thick.
does that twice. He
Yeah.
does that twice in the movie.
But it was a
hide
video
twice.
game. You have to think about a video game. If you were doing a mission in a video game and you hid in the bushes, But I mean, like, honestly, I think it's very clever the way that things conveniently happen because it is a video game. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's like, you left a witness. Now you must go and take care of that. And then, like, at one point, he's like, right whenever he, like, when's the first time you saw the dog? I think, was it, when he's burying the foot?
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
It's like you're burying the foot as part of your mission in a game. Conveniently, a dog shows up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it takes it out of your bag.
Exactly.
Because that happens in real life.
Snatches the foot. Yeah. And then runs away with it, but then brings it back.
Right.
For no reason.
For no
Yeah.
reason. For a scare. That's it. Yeah. But whenever it plays out to the very end, you find out he was in a video game the whole time. And watching the movie, you know, being a fan of the movie and watching it, you, like, seriously, it has the beats of a video game, like, all the way through.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it like that, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's a couple of things
everything-
there was a few moments I wrote shit down, like when the detective breaks into his house
Right.
and takes the ashes. My first immediate thought was like, it's not going to hold up in court.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that was the first thought I had. I was like,
Yeah.
you just fucked your whole case up, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be illegally
You didn't have a
obtained.
warrant.
Yeah.
You broke in.
You broke in.
illegally.
You're a criminal now.
I only have one thing to say that. 90s, bitch. You could do shit like that in the 90s. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
Now, since after I love the special effects when he's in the girl's room,
Oh, yeah.
and then Trickster shows up.
And he's like, I am you.
Yeah, and then
he's
he like I love when he starts to like. This was actually what sold me on the movie because I had never even heard of it until I met you, and I was looking at the DVD,
And it showed like
and it shows him like sucking Edward Furlong into him, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that sold me.
Right.
But like the some of the special effects are kind of wonky in that scene, but sometimes they're kind of cool. Like when
Yeah.
he absorbs his hand into his body, the way it like grabs him, I thought was pretty sweet. But the special like that was like the biggest like special effects part in the whole movie because like it didn't take much
Yeah.
when he would like disappear, but like that whole chunk of scene right there was a lot of special effects.
I thought, I thought it was cool how the second murder, he doesn't show anything.
Yeah,
you know what I
he
mean?
just wakes up and then he finds the
His buddy's necklace or
yeah.
whatever. I was just like,
Yeah.
that's a video game beat. It seems like too. It's like you wake up. What happened? You committed your second murder. Like straight up video game beat. Because you're gonna find out you killed your friend. Why isn't there more horror video games? That's what I want. Can we have that?
I think there are.
I mean,
I guess there could be
are,
more,
but there
but
definitely isn't a mainstream.
I'm not a gamer.
Like,
I don't play them.
oh yeah. We need more murder video games.
No, dude. Don't you know video games make people commit?
yeah.
what
Did you
Trump
hear?
said, right?
Metal music
No,
too.
that's what all of media is telling
Is it?
everyone.
Is it?
But yeah, the only reason that
Yeah,
dude,
metal music and
Yep.
violent video
the
games.
two, a lot of things that we love. We're actually murderers.
We are
just
murderers.
by association.
Yeah, I mean,
We're
apparently
all-
I should be
we're all
a
murderers.
mass murderer at this point in my life because I love violent video games and I listen to death metal.
Yeah, and watching
Well,
horror movies.
by 1994 standards, do you have a Korn or Marilyn Manson shirt?
I did at the time.
Murderer.
Murderer. They should just take you straight to jail.
Actually,
I don't wanna bring it
actually,
down,
Korn's 95, right? Is it
Yeah.
95?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Not to
Yeah.
bring everything down, but since we're on that subject really quick, the guy in Dayton that did that was like one of the first things they brought up was because he was wearing a Acacia Strain hoodie when he committed the
Oh,
act.
that's why a Casey Strain has been
Yeah,
like,
yep.
yeah, okay.
Because he was wearing one of their hoodies. And then today I was reading an article that said that he was in a porno grind band where they talked about like the violent lyrics, and so it's like,
Right.
dude, none of that shit has
all
anything
the-
to fucking do
What
with
about all the other shit that's happened in the past year with fucked up shit, or the past decade where they were wearing a neutral shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like-
yeah,
Do we look at what they were fucking listening to?
I think they mentioned I forget what shooting it was, but the guy was like the video game that he was most into was Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh yeah, that'll make you kill somebody.
Yeah.
Kill somebody for sure.
I get
So, like-
violent when I'm playing
That's-
DDR.
Yeah, the
It's all
whole like
fucking
the whole
bullshit.
video games, horror movies, metal music makes you a fucking murderer. Like shtick is played out and it's not true.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
played
I
the
mean,
fuck out.
I've read articles saying that like metal music like calms you down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it like
That's
it does.
honestly
Right.
legitimately like
There's all kinds of study on metal music. Like it's the closest to classical music that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's the closest, or it like people that listen to metal are usually higher IQ people. Yeah, it actually
mean,
will
I-
calm you down in stressful situations.
like classical music. All it is metal without a drum set. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
more
if
or
you,
less, yeah.
if you played classical music and
It's-
got someone to play on a drum set with it, it'd be like, this is fucking metal, bro.
Most metal is like closer to classical music than any other art like style
Right.
of music we have.
Yeah,
And
metal's cool, guys.
There's plenty of studies. Look them up. Do your own research. But
as somebody that actually suffers with mental illness, I can attest to the fact that that's what keeps me calm.
Right, metal.
Yep, I just put fucking
Yeah.
my headphones in and I just tune the world out for a
I
while.
think it's funny in that in Brainscan, he gets in trouble, for doing the horror club, and the principal like talks to him, and he says something like, "Do you enjoy lighting up a marijuana cigarette and raping a girl or something like that?"
It's weird that kind of ties into like everything that's going on in the last like week or so. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like 94.
Yep.
Like society still thinks of certain things the same way.
Yeah,
like,
nothing's fucking changed at all.
like, dude, you're wearing a Marilyn Manson shirt. You're obviously part of the reason that people die.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a little afraid to wear some of
this
my
is your fault. Yeah.
my metal shirts out in public with and not like
Your
people are gonna like
music and
freak the
your-
fuck out if they see me like in my cattle decapitation shirt or my fucking dying fetus t-shirt. People are gonna freak out on me.
Honestly, like most of my friends that listen to heavy music and watch horror movies and play video games are like all like the nicest
Nicest.
dudes
Yeah.
ever. Like we would never do
Yeah.
anything. Like we don't get in fights. We don't do that
dude,
shit. Like,
most metal dudes in bands, like every band I've ever toured with, it's like, I remember whenever we found out we were doing a tour with Oceano, we're like, oh my God, these guys are so brutal. Like they're going to fight us or something. They're going to beat us up. And, and then we get there and Adam's like, oh man, I love video games. I collect video games. I have a whole retro collection. You know what I mean? And I'm like, they're just normal people.
Talking about that guy, Adam's a vocalist, right?
Right.
Like the first time I'd ever taken my wife to a show, it was you guys and them playing, and he was just the nicest guy in the world. And then she was like, he was so nice. And I was like, yeah. And then they got on stage and he was all like, you motherfuckers. And she was like, what the fuck happened? Like it blew her mind because she'd never seen that shit before.
it's a show. They're supposed to be
Yeah.
entertained.
They're putting on a show.
Putting on a show.
Yeah,
That's not how they are in
definitely a
real
show.
life.
It's like pro wrestling.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Anyway.
Shout out, Adam. Shout out. What up? If anybody didn't know it, I used to be in a band called I Wrestled a Bear Once. Me and Adam are hopefully going to do a video soon. So, yeah.
What about Edward Furlong? We haven't.
Edward Furlong. Let's get into
What happened
Edward
to that guy?
Furlong.
Like,
Oh my god.
what happened?
Dude. And he had like
There's rumors
such
of
a
him.
great career.
I know.
There's
I
rumors
read
of him
about it.
being in the new Terminator.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator. Anyway.
Edward Furlong.
Edward
Yeah,
Furlong,
obviously we
yes.
know him from Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's like his biggest role. And then you got American History X, which is one of my personal favorites.
Dude.
And then I fucking love Pet Sematary 2.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I like all of those.
Detroit Rock City. Anybody?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit Rock City. That's amazing. I forgot he was in that at all.
and
dude.
that movie fucking rocks.
Yeah, he was much better in that than in Brainscan. Honestly, like I like him as an actor, but like Brainscan was probably his lowest acting point. You know what I mean?
Speaking of that, the
Yeah.
director actually has gone on record saying he's not a fan of Edward Furlong, didn't think he was a good actor,
Yeah.
and quoted him as saying, had to slap him awake every morning.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
He's like the kid that sleeps in, like.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
like
I can see that.
He's
for
a for
sure.
real metal kid. That's just like, oh, leave me alone. Hey, you forgot to do your dishes. No, I don't do dishes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't do
very-
dishes.
He's very bland.
Yeah. So, anyways, child actors, child famous people, things go wrong with them
That's a
after
whole
a while.
nother video.
Well, some of them
Yeah.
can make comebacks, like Drew Barrymore, somebody that made a comeback.
Right. I mean, I guess there's always room for a comeback.
Yeah.
So,
I honestly can't think of it anymore.
so anyone else want to go before we wrap it up? I guess
Yeah, I
What
just
else
had
we
a,
got?
we're already at like 30 minutes.
a couple of points that I thought were funny during the movie. Like, I think it takes place after it's like the end of it when he wakes up, and it's like this scream. He wakes up screaming from his game chair, and it's like the 3 different point of views. It's just him going, ah!
Oh yeah.
And then it's another cut. Ah! And I was like, I was watching it, I legitimately went, why the fuck did they show that 3 times?
I think it was more of a 90s thing, you know.
Was
what I
it a
mean?
90s
yeah,
thing?
Yeah, definitely. And like,
100%.
well, the more you watch 90s movies, you realize that they did some really like janky things that they thought were cool. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, that showing the same thing 3 times from different scenes,
3
or
different
It's just such an
angles.
or like
innocuous
going
scene to do
slow
that.
mo out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, you know, a freeze frame. You know what I mean? Like, what movie? I know that I've seen a couple movies in the past month where like it just ends with a freeze frame. It's just like the main character being like, "And that, my friends, is love," and then it's like freeze frame, and then like credits. And I'm like, "Fuck you, '90s."
Fuck you, 90s.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny also when he's like, "You ruined my life," and all this shit. He starts trashing all this
I
stuff.
think the best-
And I was like, why are you trashing all your... Why can't you just be like, oh, fuck, it was just the game. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then be like, fine with it. Just like, why do you gotta trash all your shit?
I
Poor
think
Igor.
that the most interesting part of the movie, or the best acting in the movie, is whenever he like comes out of the game for real, and he's like, "Ah!" and he's like, "You take that, oh yeah."
Yeah, but then the acting again falls right off because when he finds his buddy Kyle, he's like, it's like when he's like, "Oh, Kyle, I missed you." Like the acting's like real wonky in that
Yeah.
scene.
It's good to see you, Kyle. I missed you. I love you.
Hey, man, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to digitally alter bad acting, you know, from the 90s. Like, we've remastered this to
No,
make it
just
good.
leave it. Just leave it and appreciate it for what it was.
Can you imagine if there was like a retro series that they were like, we've went in and digitally remastered bad acting into good acting?
It would all just look like Henry Cavill's lip in fucking
yeah.
Justice League.
Oh, God.
All right, so closing thoughts on the flick.
Why the fuck did the dog bring the foot back to his house if it was all just in a video game?
To keep you guessing.
What the? There would be no foot.
Yeah, that was like the closing scene of the movie, right?
Yeah.
There would
Yeah.
be no foot. That's like the M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end. But
you know 90s movies though.
They already-
it doesn't have to make sense in
you
the
can't
90s
Vanilla
movie.
Sky and M. Night Shyamalan in the same movie.
You can if
You
you
can't.
You can't you can if you know you're not going to get a sequel and you just want to
They're like, it was all a dream. But
But
was
was it? Yeah.
But was it? But was it, Rabbit, though? You answer us right now. Was
I
it?
don't know. I don't know because I can't actually know because they say, oh, it all happened in the video game. Everything's fine now. His best friend's back. His principal's not dead. Like, everybody's still alive. Why is the first kill still dead? Why is his foot still cut off? Why does the dog have the foot in its mouth? Why does the dog know where he lives?
Well, at least this movie and Inception have something in common.
No.
We're
Inception
wondering.
Inception is way easier to understand than this movie.
Okay, well, I guess the question I would ask is, would you suggest this movie to somebody to watch?
Yes, I suggest, but it's dated. So
Oh, very.
It's dated.
It's like if you want to tell somebody like a young, like a kid that didn't live in the 90s, didn't grow up in the 90s, like this pretty much encapsulates what the 90s was.
Right.
Watch this if you want to understand the 90s.
I definitely think it like sums up being a metal a metal kid who likes horror video games in the 90s, and it like, if you're one of those people, it like you already are like attached in some sort of way about it. So, and especially, we were talking about how, everything is blamed. Society blames metal. Society blames, smoking pot and all this shit, and like murder on all this shit. So, I mean, this is the type of movie that addresses the same thing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but I highly suggest it.
I would recommend it.
Yep. I think I do.
I would honestly recommend it like to watch it on VHS.
Yeah.
This is like the type
Yeah.
of movie you should watch
Right.
on a VHS tape.
Hell yeah.
Like-
It's a first. I
Yeah.
like that. I like your style.
For all the
Some movies are
tape heads out
badass to
there.
watch on VHS.
Yeah. I like how you have to rewind them most of the time. I remember just being like, oh my God, I rented this movie. It's going to be so dope. Let's watch it. Everybody sit down, shut up,
You
shut
put
your
it
mouth,
in
shut
and
your
it's
mouth.
like-
And then it's like, you put it in and it's like
Credits.
the end. And you're like, oh, I guess these people.
Why did I fucking look before I put it in the VCR?
People that rented this before me weren't so kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you were on the up and up, you had the external rewinder.
Right.
You take it out, put it in the rewinder.
Right. While this tape is rewinding, we'll watch 5 minutes of The Lion King. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Oh yeah, I stopped liking at this part. We can
Yeah.
watch that.
So, anyways, I highly recommend it.
Highly recommend.
And,
Highly recommend.
And if you like our videos, press the like button, subscribe, leave us a comment,
Discuss in the comments if you've seen the movie.
discuss what you liked about it.
I'd like to know.
Do movies like this cause violence? Talk amongst yourselves. All right. See you later, nerds.
Hasta la vista.